Bullard, Daily Log, September 15th, 1965. The main part of the apparatus is complete. Today I tested each of the individual connections, but we won't really know if it works until we can do a proper test with a full moon. The weather conditions required by the device are very sensitive, and anticipating them is proving harder than we predicted. I must tread carefully now. Should Woodcutter know that the apparatus is functional, I would have no chance of stopping him. We must keep the work secret. I rarely venture from the house now. The device is too valuable to leave unguarded. Graham called up again today. He knows I'm up to something. He tried his best to worm some details out of me, but his attempts at subterfuge were pretty feeble. The man is an incompetent scientist, but an even more incompetent liar. Josie volunteered vigorously to be the first test subject, and I readily agreed. It's not going to work the first time anyway. The Crystal Cave by Bobby Sawyer, Chapter 19. And it was brighter and brighter and brighter than the sun, but cold, so cold, cold. I could see my breath, and it was dark, and I heard her voice. It was the light, and her voice was the light, and the cold, and she was talking to me, talking like my mother used to talk to me, and it was beautiful, the most beautiful voice I have ever heard, and I wanted to go there, go be with her, and feel her skin, and see her eyes, and be her eyes. But it was cold, I could see my breath, and there was an edge to her voice, sharp like a knife. Her voice had another voice under it, and it was sharp, and I thought maybe that is her real voice, and her real voice was cold, and so I hesitated. And then I could feel the warmth, and there was warmth, and it was all over me, and I could feel it, and I opened my eyes and saw the warmth, and it was blood.
Graham Wellington wanted fame and glory. Josie Herrera wanted to find something precious. Cynthia Peckman wanted money. Bobby Sawyer wanted to be a writer. I wanted to get out of Kansas and start a real life. Now I just want to see my mother again.
Mama, respectful always, outrageous hats, simply wonderful, adores music, never angry, not forgotten, all alone. Josephine Turner, age 10. Bill, I have made an incredibly fortunate discovery. About a month ago, a student came by with an old newspaper clipping he had run across. It was dated 1932 and contained a photograph of 4 men arrested in a Chicago police bust. One of them is the spitting image of our dear Bullard. The student thought the photo quite curious, particularly because the man pictured is identified by a different name, James Lowry. I laughed it off as a coincidence and sent the student on his way. That evening, however, I became consumed with the insane idea that perhaps this was not happenstance after all. Could it be that in 1932, our own Harris Bullard was arrested under a different name? With the right connections, confidential police files are as easy to access as public records. I received today a carbon of James Lowry's 30-year-old arrest report. He was suspected of laundering money for a criminal organization, but was never formally charged. Sometime between his arrest and his release, his mugshot was taken. Thankfully, this photo was included in the documents I received. It is undeniably Bullard. It seems that there is more to our mutual friend than meets the eye. Best regards, Graham Wellington. Roosevelt signs Cullen Harrison Act, March 22, 1933. Washington, D.C. Today, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Cullen Harrison Act, or Beer Bill, into law. The law gives states the authority to legalize the sale of beer and wine containing 3.2% alcohol or less. For many, the act marks the first step towards dismantling the Volstead Act and ending prohibition. Supporters of the act argue that prohibition has led to a rise in organized crime. A lot of small-time bootleg operations just went out of business, said a local restaurant owner who asked that his name be withheld. J. Lowry, Daily Log, January 5th, 1944. Harris died today. The whole squad gone. The thing is, it should have been me. I was supposed to be on that sub. I asked Harris to switch with me this morning, right as the crew was boarding. Told him I didn't feel well. I've never liked submarines. Harris was the only person I've ever really thought of as a friend. My associates in Chicago would stick a knife in my back without blinking an eye if they thought it would get them some dough. In fact, I'm sure that's what they intend to do the moment I step off this boat. Perhaps I should see Harris's passing as an opportunity. All of his things are here. His papers, his extra dog tags, the physics book he showed me. His passport is here. Everyone who knew us personally is at the bottom of the ocean. Maybe my dear friend Harris has provided me with a way out.